want crypto. I think crypto is important because if we don't do it, China's going to. And it's new. It's very popular. It's very hot. If you look at the market, when the market went down, that stayed much stronger than other aspects of the market. But I want crypto because a lot of people, millions of people want it. I don't know if you know that Biden went after it violently, and then before the election, he changed his tune entirely. His head of the SEC, everybody changed their tune. You know why? Because there were hundreds of millions of people that are participating in crypto, and they wanted to get their votes.
You're not profiting off of the cryptocurrency business
I haven't
at
even
all?
looked.
Has your family?
I'll tell you what, look, if I own stock in something and I do a good job and the stock market goes up, I guess I'm profiting.
You're not dropping the tariffs against China to get them to the negotiating table. Those tariffs are staying on.
Why would I do that?
Would you lower them?
At some point, I'm going to lower them because otherwise you could never do business with them.
Yeah.
And they want to do business very much. Look, their economy is really doing badly. Their economy is collapsing.
We're operating at a fiscal deficit now that is unsustainable. We want to be owning anything that we thought was in a currency that was really going to hell. And that's the big thing we worry about with the United States currency. I mean, the tendency of a government to want to debase its currency over time there's no system that beats that. You can pick dictators, you can pick representatives, you can do anything. But the people, there will be a push toward weaker currencies. And of course, that is, I mentioned very briefly in the annual report that the fiscal policy is what scares me in the United States because it's made the way it is, and all the motivations are doing a lot of things that can cause trouble with money. But that's not limited to the United States. It's all over the world, and some places it gets out of control regularly. As they know, they devalue at rates that are breathtaking, and that's continued. I mean, people can study economics, and you can have all kinds of arrangements, but in the end, if you've got people that control the currency, you can issue paper money, and you will, or you can engage in clipping currencies like they used to do centuries ago. And there will always be people. It's the nature of their job. I'm not singling them out as particularly evil or anything like that. But the natural course of government is to make the currency worth less over time, and that's got important consequences. And it's very hard to build checks and balances into the system to keep that from happening. And we've had a lot of fun here in the last, either the first 100 days or the last 100 days, whatever you want to call it, watching what happens when people try to make sure that they aren't running fiscal risks. And that game isn't over, and it never will be over, in finality. If you look up and search the great inflations of post-World War II, it's just a list that goes on forever, and the same names keep popping up and everything. So the value of currency is a scary thing. And we don't have any great system for beating that. We do in this particular Japanese position because we expect to hold it for 50 or 100 years or more. And we will be owning something that's denominated in yen and easily predictable. And we'll just, as long as the the carry on it is right and everything, we'll attempt to issue Japanese denominated liabilities, but that's not because of anything we carry about in terms of quarterly or annual earnings.
Warren Buffett pulls a switcheroo. Trillions move from the U.S. to the BRICS.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher, and you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Trump on crypto. If we don't do, China will. But he doesn't go into the power of this technology. This technology is definitely biblical. But remember, when it comes to technology, you can use it for good or evil. And when you look at blockchain smart contracts, you can date them back to the 90s and they were working clearly. And it actually goes further back than that. But Trump is asked about benefiting from crypto right along with his family. And we've never seen this done in history. But like I tell you guys, we have to follow the money. Follow the Trump train. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Warren Buffett giving us the truth on his way on out. He's 94 years old. It's about time he gets to telling us the truth. And what does he say? The dollar is on his way down. And how many American people are actually listening to him? Not a lot. And he clearly gave it to you, mapped it out, told you the truth. But remember, my people perish from the lack of knowledge because they rejected or they stay distracted on things that don't matter. And how long has the Crypto Teacher have told you this? They're going to devalue this dollar. We're going to a level playing field. And the American people are going to take a beating because they're not used to managing their money. They're not used to not going out spending and getting whatever they want. But a rude awakening is here. But remember, guys, by the time they wake up, the fourth industrial revolution will be here. The machines would have already taken over. Now, we see majority of countries that do value their currency, they had to just because of the powerful dollar. But now, the world reserve currency is about to end, and the United States is going to a level playing field, and that's going to help us devalue all this debt. And blockchain and these digital assets are the savior, because the fact is that you can no longer weaponize the dollar. And we keep hearing about sanctions, North Korea, Iran, Russia, China. It's not going to hurt them because they no longer care about the dollar. Fiat is done, and it's done on purpose because the central banks printed 80% of all money in existence in 2 years. Yes, you can't make this stuff up. And then Warren Buffett says that what? He's going to Japan. That's right. He's been buying up Japan, but he recently sold some Japan bonds. Of course, that gave us a little rumble in the markets, but Japan has to eventually start to raise rates and get rid of all this United States debt. And don't forget, Japan leaders were brought to San Francisco for a reason, and that's to plan out this fourth industrial revolution. Japan made a deal, and now we're clearly seeing why. And then, guys, we have China versus the U.S. trade war. Xi, since 2015, made in China. The way to get off the West. And don't forget, in 2014, Russia was getting off the West, getting off the dollar. You know, I've done plenty of videos on China and Russia getting off the dollar. And again, that's why sanctions won't work. So what's next, guys? That's right. We're going to hear the drums are beating. But this time, it's not going to be physical. It's going to be cyber. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And this week is going to be a very important week on whether Trump makes a move when it comes to these tariffs while Jerome Powell is in the House. The longer this thing goes on, we know that black swan is near. Now, if he does something this week that pushes the black swan back, but if these tariffs stay on, That's going to put a lot of pressure on the American consumer, not just in the goods, but also when it comes to jobs. And remember, the crypto teacher tells you. And we have the global economy has been going digital since the C word. While everybody was distracted, they were moving in all this technology. And now we have the foundation. The only thing we need is regulation to go ahead and push it forward. And we're going to see that in the next few months. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And then we have the American dream buying a home. And we know from George Carlin, you got to be asleep in order to believe of the American dream. They have priced out the middle class from buying a home. But as we see this job market weakens, housing prices are going to plummet. All you have to do is go back to any housing crisis. You will see us go straight up. And then once we get the housing crisis, we go straight down. Guys, we've seen this movie before. And as these layoffs keep picking up, the fourth industrial revolution is going to keep picking up. Whether robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
The United States has launched a trade war with the world's second largest economy, China. Together, the two countries account for almost 45% of global output and more than 20% of global trade. It would be easy to blame the Trump administration alone for shooting first and thinking later.
China, first row.
More than 80% of all smartphones imported by the US come from China, as do 78% of all computer monitors. Can we find new suppliers for these in the next few months? Meanwhile, China imports lots of oil, gas, soybeans, and pork from America, which can be easily bought from other countries around the world. The truth is, the United States has been sleepwalking into increased economic warfare with China for several years now, probably starting around Barack Obama's second term. Tariffs against most Chinese goods are at 145%, and China's tariffs against most American goods are at 125%. As Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent has said, this basically amounts to an embargo, which he admitted is unsustainable, which of course raises the question, why did his boss initiate a strategy that cannot be sustained? In 2015, before Donald Trump was first elected, Xi announced his major new Made in China economic project, an ambitious set of policies explicitly designed to make China less dependent on Western technology. Xi had already aroused American suspicions by making a series of foreign policy moves that were more ambitious, adventurous, and militaristic than his predecessors. Trade flows will get distorted as Chinese companies set up new ventures in Southeast Asia, Mexico, and other places to bypass tariffs. Smuggling will boom. Every American action will produce a Chinese reaction. Consider technology. While Washington has valid reasons to limit Beijing's access to the highest-end chips, has it been effective? In chip making and in AI, Chinese firms like Huawei and DeepSeek appear to be able to produce results that are close to the cutting edge, but often at a fraction of the American cost.
Chinese imports have steadily plummeted since Trump's tariffs went into effect, and American consumers can soon expect price hikes and potentially empty shelves.
The shift towards deglobalization, towards reshoring and reindustrialization of the domestic core really first began during COVID, was accelerated with Ukraine, and now, of course, recent tariff policies are forcing a complete reordering and reshuffling of the global economy.
American dream without a house? Well, the New York Times said, believe it, this was just a few months ago in an article. And part of the problem has, of course, been these starter homes. Now, there's one estimate that says starter homes are now $293,000. They've gone up 7 years in a row. And the average price, we do know, of a starter home, it tops $1 million in 233 cities. $1 million bucks. That was only 85 cities in 2020. But the question is that starting to change here a little bit? Pending home sales climbed 6.1% in March. Now, here's the thing. Wall Street was expecting 1.0%, just 1%, the chart behind me. So that's great news. Unfortunately, the following chart will underscore just how far this number has to go. We are way down there, folks.
I'd just like to add, we talked about the shift to product liability and to protection for accidents that take place because of an error in terms of how the product was designed or supplied. The only thing I want to add is, in addition to that shift, I think where the number of accidents that take place and need to be provided for will drop dramatically because of automatic driving.
Then there's AI with Grok, which you may have you used. Have you used Grok?
I have.
Okay, it's very good.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's really fun.
You can ask for complex analysis of things, and it's going to get the answer right almost always. Mm-hmm. You know, speaking of AI, it's very important that AI be programmed with good values, especially truth-seeking values. This is, I think, essential for AI safety. Like, the most important thing we do for AI safety is to have a maximally truth-seeking AI. I can't emphasize this enough. Remember these words. We must have a maximally truth-seeking AI. And if we don't, it'll be very dangerous.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box, provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're going to get more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, is time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Tam save New York. From COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.